with Michael.
Hey everyone.
We're doing another episode of Heal Your Tribe podcast, and this is also going to be the relaunch or announcement of La Familia Ayahuasca coming back. Let's give some history for those who don't know. La Familia Ayahuasca is our ayahuasca retreat program that we had in Guatemala. And we were down there for 2 years.
Yeah.
And we loved it. It was amazing. It was almost the perfect setup. And then COVID hit, and no one was able to come. No one was able to go. We had to go through kind of a process to leave ourselves.
Yeah.
And we left Guatemala because of the travel restrictions. And that was the only reason we left. Otherwise, we would have stayed there for many years.
And it would have been great.
It would have been great. Now, the good news, and that was 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2020.
Yeah. Now, COVID has seemed to have waned. It's still around. We don't want to pretend it's not still around. But we have discovered some things about a place called Mexico.
Whoa.
South of the border, again. Mexico, at the federal level, has made things very easy and safe for us to do this work. And so for those of you who don't know, we're in Oregon, where it's also safe for us to do this work because of the state laws. However, the federal laws make it even better.
Yes.
So we are going to be doing a scouting trip here in April timeframe, April to May. We're taking Jess and I are going to go down, and
Krista and I are also going down.
Yeah.
Krista's going to be doing a dance training down there, and then I'm joining up with her to explore.
Yes. And we're looking at 2 locations, right?
Primarily. Yeah.
You want to talk about?
Yeah. So the 2 locations that we're looking at are Sayulita, which is about 30 minutes north of Puerto Vallarta, and then Tepoztlan, which is about an hour and a half south of Mexico City. Very different locations.
Yeah.
I understand the appeal for Sayulita.
Yes.
It's a beach. It's got beautiful weather, a little toasty, but come on down, do some work, easy rest and relaxation after or before the work starts.
Yep.
The challenge with Sayulita, at least the challenge to me, and I think for you as well, super gringo.
Yeah.
And look, I'm obviously a gringo. That being said, one of the big draws for both Guatemala or Mexico is getting enmeshed in the culture, getting to understand the culture, and that's where Tepoztlan becomes really interesting. Do you want to talk a little bit about Tepoztlan?
Sure, and I just want to, on top of what you just said, or piling on what you just said, the traveling outside your comfort zone, I think, is really, the pilgrimage comes to mind, is really an important component of this work. And there's a vibe to the beach, gringo. I imagine, we still haven't been there, but I imagine it's a little more party, a little more that kind of vibe, a vacation vibe, which is fantastic for a vacation. And we might go to Sayulita and be like, whoa, this is amazing, this is perfect, and this is the place. We don't know yet. But let's talk about Tepoztlan for a moment. Tepoztlan is as you said, an hour and a half or so outside of Mexico City from the airport. So very, very easy to get to from the airport. Mexico City is the main airport in Mexico, so it should be quite easy for people to fly into from a time standpoint and just accessibility standpoint. Sayulita would be flying into Puerto Vallarta, and Sayulita is like probably an hour, really
45 minutes to an hour.
45 minutes to an hour from that airport. But I know on the West Coast, Sayulita, from Portland, we got a direct flight, but from the East Coast, you're probably going through either Cancun or Mexico City. So there is a travel benefit to Mexico City. On top of that, and I'll keep on the travel thing. So once you're in Mexico City, let's say you come and do a retreat with us for a week, and you have a 2-week time frame, and you want to go check out someplace else in Mexico. Well, you're in Mexico City, and everything in Mexico City is the hub. So you'll be able to, let's say you want to go to Cancun or Puerto Vallarta or Oaxaca or some of these other really cool places to kind of mix up your trip a little bit. You will be right there in Mexico City. And interesting thing about Mexico, the domestic flights within Mexico are shockingly affordable. And then buses, really nice, what they call ejecutivos, executive buses, if you want to go really budget in your travel. And actually, that could be cool to see the land.
Yeah, I mean, when I was living in Peru, that was one of my favorite ways to travel, was taking the buses. And I mean,
they're nice buses.
They're nice buses.
They have stewardesses.
Stewardesses, the steward eye. The chairs lay pretty much flat.
Yeah.
I mean,
really nice bathrooms. They come around and they give you drinks and all this sort of thing, and they stop at nice places for larger meals if it's a longer trip. So there's some benefit from a travel standpoint. It being, or Tepoztlán being close to Mexico City, and it's up in the mountains, so the weather is so much more, how do I say it, mild. Yes.
Mild and consistent.
Yeah.
You know, I think outside of the weather and the travel, and just imagine Jess sitting here with us. When we're talking about where do we want to go, there's a dynamic of where is the power spot?
Yeah.
And
a shamanic power spot.
A shamanic power spot to amplify and drive in this work.
Yeah.
And Tepoztlán is, according to legend, mythos, whatever you want to call it, the birthplace of Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent. So that's a
big deal, and it's beautiful. It's up in the mountains. Really, I encourage people to Google it. Tepoztlán is spelled T-E-P-O-T, Z as in zebra, L as in Larry, A-N as in Nancy. Tepoztlán, dramatic mountains. There's some ruins there.
Ruins.
Although it's not a Quetzalcoatl ruin, it's another deity there. And there's already a lot of alternative, yoga, tantra, all kinds of that kind of thing going on. It reminds me, without having been there yet, reminds me of San Marcos before San Marcos got really big. And it is very, very Mexican. I mean, hardly, you look on YouTube, there's some people who have gone through Tepoztlán and have done their video thing, and they all love it. And at the same time, there aren't many gringos who know about it. So it's kind of, my sense is it's this hidden gem that has not been overrun by gringos, because the gringos want to go to the beach, which is great. Go to the beach for your vacation. Tepoztlán, we have a sense, we're not totally sure, but we have a sense this is a great place to do the type of work we're doing, the spiritual work, the plant medicine work. And in addition to all that, the weather, and then personally, I want to be in a place where lots of Mexicans, like really Mexican Mexicans. That sounds weird. I apologize if I offend. And when I say that Mexican, I mean people go to an area that doesn't speak English. Essentially,
Yeah.
It's not set up for tourism for gringos, and I think that's important and very important for our son Bodhi. We want, part of the reason we were in Guatemala was the rich culture and being exposed to Spanish and learning Spanish and speaking Spanish and all of that sort of thing. Combine that with, their being in the mountains, and it's right up next to a national park or some sort of reserve.
It's a nature reserve, and it's forested. I can quasi-remember the name. It's something about sacred deer, which I get excited about.
Yeah.
I love the deer. But yeah, I mean, there's natural beauty. There's still a changing dynamic of terrain. It's not that hard to get to the beach. You're more enmeshed in the culture, as we've said. And I mean, yes, it's important for you, Jess, and Bodhi. It's important for Krista and I and our future family.
Yeah.
There's dance communities around for Krista, which is really important, especially for some of the play that she and I want to do going forwards too.
Yeah. And it'll allow us, since we're talking about Krista and yourself, Michael is going to graduate from the mandala here within the next few months, and so this whole move will really facilitate him and Krista being able to put on their own unique retreats. Do you want to share some of those ideas?
Yeah. For those of you who have watched the last podcast, you've heard me go on and on about Jinkies. So there's a dynamic where, working with myself and actually Zach in this case, bringing together medicine work, Gene Keys, some of the Violda dynamics.
Alberto Violda, the energy medicine work.
Yeah. Krista, for those of you who don't know, is amazing at what she does. And while she is 100% studying the medicine and is a certified, amazing combo practitioner, a master combo practitioner, the thing that lights her up in this world is movement and the body. And so we're going to be blending movement and medicine together. And the retreats that we're thinking about will incorporate somatic processing, dance, yoga, freeform movement with the medicine, which sometimes can be very much so a meditative contemplation practice. So you've got stillness and movement, and can you have the stillness and the movement and the stillness, which has been a theme for me since my very first retreat, actually.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, obviously, maybe not so obvious, we will have several of our more traditional retreats that everyone who knows us and has been with us before will get to experience. So we'll be mixing it up a little bit more. We'll be able to offer more because with Michael graduating, he can go out and do his own thing, and maybe I help out a little bit, or Jess helps out a little bit, but it's generally going to be him for his retreats, and of course Michael will be around for our retreats.
I'm really not going anywhere.
Not going anywhere. So really excited about that. And what does that mean, though, for people who have been working with us here in Oregon? Well, you've got between what now is end of March, beginning of April, until probably mid-October is when we're going to really shut things down in the United States. But we're filming this podcast right in our ceremony space. You see the mesa behind us and kind of where we sit, and we're in this gigantic temple space. And everybody loves the space. Everybody loves the space. So this is a great opportunity for those who aren't so thrilled about the idea of travel to come visit us here, and for those who haven't been to the space yet, come, and those who know the space, just come back and let's get some more retreats in before we head south. In addition to that, backing up again to the Mexico thing, part of the reason we're moving is to keep our overhead. Inflation is happening.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is, and we've always been quite committed to offer retreats that are accessible. I was just looking online recently for Mexico, and there's some other ayahuasca retreats going on there. They're pretty steep. I want to say 2,500 was kind of the standard, and they had less ceremonies, like 3 ceremonies in a week, and it was like $2,500, somewhere in that range. I even saw one that was like 8,000, but I think those are ultra small retreats, and they had therapists, and they were adding in a bunch of other stuff, which is fine. And adding to all of this, in addition to Michael's special retreats, we're wanting to offer really small, 2, 4, 6 people retreats. Because it's a smaller group, the price will be higher, but we can also customize the accommodation,
services, attention that makes sense for you. If there's 2 to 4 people and you're coming in specifically to do that work, if you want private yoga with Krista, massage, other things, it's a very small, intimate space to do really profound work in. And we'll see how it all unfolds. My mind goes to those of you who are interested in doing dietas.
Yes.
There's a great time to come do a dieta, small group dynamics, or even individual, depending on space.
Yeah, I mean, again, when we do private or quasi-private stuff with smaller groups, it impacts the investment for you. So let's talk about some new dates, because we do have some new dates coming out. I have a napkin with everything written down. So we will have the rest of the summer announced here probably in a month or so, maybe less. But first, we have a new 3-night weekend retreat, which would be July 30th.
May 30th.
I'm sorry, May 30th to the 3rd of July, which means you can take advantage of that 4th of July if you get that for a holiday. That having that added in is great. And it's so much more fun to do ayahuasca 3 nights in a row than to go drink beer.
You want to see some real fireworks.
Exactly. You want to see some real fireworks. There we go. Then July 16th through the 24th, we are doing Redwood Dieta. So that's 4 ceremonies and a dieta. July 16th through the 24th. And then for those who are just interested in 3-nighters, we have July 21st through 24th. So another thing to mention in the near term, things are starting to warm up here in Oregon. This is probably the best time of year here until, frankly, this is the best of all worlds. From now until
we leave
is the best time of year to be in Oregon. And then when we arrive in Mexico until essentially May, June timeframe is the best time to be in Mexico. Up at Tepoztlán, it's actually pretty much good all year round. There are some rainy months, but temperature-wise, it's just like all the time. What are the temperatures again in Tepoztlan?
Very similar to those of you who visited us in Guatemala at the lake.
Yes.
So on average between 50 degrees Fahrenheit to 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Higher altitude, not tons of humidity.
Right.
So nice, dry,
Yes.
middle of the realms temperature. It's
Middle
great.
of the temperature, yeah. And that's part of our attraction to Tepoztlan is it reminds us a lot of Lake Atitlan. And I think I mentioned before, it reminds, not having been there, reminds us of Lake Atitlan before Lake Atitlan became overrun with gringos, which is kind of the case right now.
Yeah. And slightly still more developed already.
Yeah.
In the sense that, you're close to Mexico City, you come out, Guatemala, you're talking, it was a trek to get to the lake.
Yeah.
It's easier travel. There's beautiful spas there too, and other things for those of you who just want to stay in Tepoztlan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, Mexico's it's interesting. It seems to be in this kind of sweet spot of development for travel, because it's overall less expensive. They've got some great food and great culture, and it's more developed than Guatemala. So instead of riding around in tuk-tuks, there are more taxis. There's just the infrastructure is much more built out, but at the same time, it hasn't reached the Costa Rica level of expense.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. Do you want to round things out to remind people of some other dates that are still coming? May 30th to June 19th is Medicine Camp, where you can do combo, sound healing, dieta, and a 3-nighter. You could do all of those things in a row, be here for like 3 weeks. That'd be awesome, but you can also pick and choose which one of those things you'd like to do. Then May 14th to 20th, we have an Ajo Sacha dieta. Ajo Sacha, I've dieted Ajo Sacha 3 times now. It is a foundational plant, particularly for those mandaleros. Mandaleros are those people who are in our training program. This is a really important plant. I found it to be really significant for integrity and clarity. Then there's the medicinal aspects, which are anti-inflammatory. They use it for viruses, right? Colds.
Yeah. It's one of the super medicinal master plants out there.
Yeah. So that's Ajo Sacha. Then we have May 19th through the 20th. There's a 3-night, 3-ceremony shorter retreat. June 11th through the 19th is Kumaseba, which is a gigantic tree, super medicinal. It's a feminine, the spirit that I've encountered is a feminine one. It's also known to kind of open women up to feeling amorous.
Yes. Yeah. Amorous, I mean, the medicinal effects of the plant, good for both men's and women's sexual reproductive health. From a jungle perspective.
Yeah.
And also, definitely a little bit of amorous dynamic. I find it to be kind of the feminine equivalent of Ayauma. That's at least how it comes across to me.
It's funny, now that you mention it, when I first was training in the jungle, the 2 trees that I would kind of go to for singing my ikaros, it would be Ayauma, Kumaseba. So it's interesting you brought it. I didn't make that connection, but Spirit was clearly coming through me going, okay, we're going to balance out the Ayauma with the Kumaseba. So it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, cool. Definitely. And then June 16th through the 19th, we have another 3-night, 3-ceremony retreat as well. So let us know if you want to come. We will be back after we do our scouting trip and let you know where we're going to end up in Mexico. We're super excited. Yeah. And anything else you'd like to to share? Oh, I graduated from I am now a master.
That's what I was gonna add.
I'm a master practitioner of energy medicine from the Four Winds Society, the Alberto Villoldo lineage. Fantastic. Really looking forward to working with people in that modality. Super powerful. I'm sure we'll talk more about it on a different podcast. And anybody who has been looking at that course, I would just generally say 2 thumbs up, 5 stars. And if you want to reach out and ask questions, I'm happy to answer. Yeah, anything else?
I don't think we've told them about Redwood. Oh. I know we've mentioned that the Redwood Dieta is going to happen, but we have not explained the kind of effects of Redwood.
Oh, right, yeah. Again, July 16th through the 24th is Redwood Dieta. Please.
Well, I dieted Redwood while I was in Guatemala, thanks to some very generous friends bringing it down. And it is cosmic.
Yes.
You have worked with Redwood far more than I have.
It's strong. I mean, I've done Redwood Dieta without drinking ayahuasca, and so I've gotten, and people who want to do this dieta, they'll have this experience as well. You drink the tea, go to bed. I had close-eyed visions. It's like, wow, it's super strong. It also amps up the strength of the ayahuasca.
For sure.
So it's cosmic, feminine. It's where Jess and I met and subsequently got married. We have at least one other couple who met during a Redwood or solidified their relationship through the Redwood Dieta. So there's all of that. Plus, it's just this wisdom, lots and lots of wisdom. These redwood trees are so old, and they are so relevant to North Americans because they've grown around, or we've grown around them, I should say.
They're wisdom keepers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, and kind of like the Ayuma, Kumaseba, Sequoia, Redwood, just big honking trees that are very, very wise.
Yes, indeed. And again, a great time of year to do it. That's all I've got.
That's all I've got.
All right. Well, thank you for taking the time to watch this podcast, listen to this podcast. You can find more content like this on SoundCloud and YouTube at Heal Your Tribe. We now have the La Familia Ayahuasca web page back up. It doesn't have a lot of detail, but if you're interested, you don't know us well, you might check it out. There's some people sharing their experiences there, and you can learn more about our lineage and our views. So the address for that is ayahuascafamily.com. If you're interested in the combo and sound healing trainings, that would be at healyourtribe.com. If you are interested in the work that we're doing here in Oregon, these retreats we mentioned here, reach out to us at info@ayahuascafamily.com, and we'll go from there. So we hope to talk to you soon, and have a good one.
Bye, everyone.
Woo!